Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. Wonderful Wednesday. Grateful for this day. I'm excited to bring you some information on real estate investing and what are the traits that you need to have, and what are the traits of some of the most successful real estate investors out here, the traits of some of the real estate investors that I know. If you don't have some of these traits, or even most of these traits, you will not be successful. And so there's common denominators for some of the successful real estate investors. I always like to say that success leaves clues. And if you follow investors and the successful ones, there's certain things that all of them do and all of them know. And I always try to incorporate what they know and what they do into what I do. So let me start off. I'm going to go over probably about 6 or 7 or maybe 8 different traits. Take notes if you like, but these are some of the things that are going to get you highly successful. And so real estate investing is one of the reasons why I got into real estate investing, as most of you guys know that know me. I read an encyclopedia at 17 years old, and it stated 95% of all the wealth is owned by people who own real estate. And so from that moment on, at 17 years old, that was an epiphany moment for me. And I said to myself, I'm going to get into real estate one day. And I have. And so, and I followed some proven models of success. And so these are some of the things that they have done in order to be successful. Number one is knowledge. One of the traits is knowledge. You've got to have the right knowledge in order to be successful. And it's like anything else. The very best real estate investors, they know what they do, what they're doing, and they're the best at it because, they've really studied it. They studied it to the point where, most of the successful ones could write a book on real estate investing. They could be right here, doing a podcast and really selling their knowledge because, they've really focused in on real estate investing. So you've got to be very, very knowledgeable at this game. In terms of knowledge, you've got to have the right ability to analyze deals. And so I know a lot of investors that can just walk into a property and know, what the repair cost is going to be. The property is in an area that they've already that they specialize in, and they know once they renovate the property according to the square footage, what they're going to be able to sell the property for. They analyze the repair costs. They know how to do numbers in terms of cash flow and things like that. They know what the area calls for in terms of finishes. If they're wholesalers, they know how much money they can make on a wholesale deal because they really focus on those numbers. They know their numbers. I know an investor, I call him Dr. Mike. He specializes in one thing, and it's buy and hold properties. And he only buys and holds in certain high-priced areas. He does luxury rentals, but he only rents them out to Section 8 tenants. And that's his sole focus. And he's just really knowledgeable on what Section 8 is going to pay for that area, how many bedrooms and how many bathrooms he needs, what he should be buying those properties for, what the renovation costs are going to be, what his cash flow is going to be, and how he's going to finance, so what type of financing he's going to use for those properties. He's just very knowledgeable on the one thing that he's focused on. And again, he's one that, could really write a book on exactly what he focuses on, what his niche is. And so you've got to have a niche and you've got to be knowledgeable on it. You've got to read books. You've got to follow proven models, podcasts like this, even getting a mentor. But one of the traits that I see with successful real estate investors is they have knowledge of the game. They get in and they learn as much as they can. Also, number 2 would be patience. And what comes along with patience is buying the right deal. Look, and as a real estate investor, there's a lot of pressure on you to invest in real estate. There's a lot of pressure on you in finding deals. That's a lot of pressure. And so oftentimes what I see is investors with that much pressure, and they're so anxious for a deal that they buy the wrong deal. The number one mistake that real estate investors make is they buy the properties wrong. There's certain formulas that we use. And if the property doesn't meet that formula, you guys, you got to be patient. Like, you have to exercise patience. You don't want to buy a bad deal. You've got to learn how to say no and walk away. I mean, I probably walk away from 95% of the deals that are offered to me because they're not the right deal. I have in the past bought the wrong deal, and I've lost money on it. So I've learned from my past to have patience. I have a real estate investor, a coaching student of mine, that found a property, and I vetted the property for her, and I told her not to buy it. The numbers don't work. And she was just so anxious to get a deal, she bought the property anyway. After I told her not to buy the property, she bought the property. She said, well, Greg, I know that the numbers don't work, but I'm just itching for a deal. I'm able to get financing, and I may not make that 20% profit that I should be making, 20% of the after repair value. But as long as I make some money, I'm happy. Long story short, she got into the deal. Some things happened, change orders, and she actually lost money. And she learned a valuable lesson. She learned the lessons of patience. Like, she now, looking back, she wished, obviously, that she had been patient to get the right deal versus buying the wrong deal and losing money. We don't even want to buy the wrong deal and break even. We don't do this for practice. We invest in real estate to be wealthy, to be filthy rich, and to be wealthy. There's no gain. There's no gain of experience by just breaking even. So have a lot of patience. So here traits: knowledge of the game, patience, and then vision. You guys, you got to have vision. You got to have vision on your on your properties, on your opportunities. Vision to build and improve your portfolio. I looked at some properties last week, and when I looked at those properties, they were in Baltimore, in Reservoir Hill, and I initially said to myself, okay, so these properties are selling for about $150, $170. It's going to take about $150,000 to renovate these properties. If I can rent the whole property out, buy it, rent it out, have like a luxury rental. If I can start off making maybe $2,000 a month in positive cash flow, I'll start buying these properties, Reservoir Hill and in other areas of Baltimore. I came back to my office, I ran the comps, and the comp said at the highest I could only rent for $2,000, maybe $2,200. Didn't make sense. So I said that strategy is not a good strategy. But then I started thinking. Started having vision, and here's what I came up with vision. I said some of those properties are actually in a zone where they could be multifamily, because these are the big 4-unit buildings. They're also zoned multifamily. If I can rent out each level, even if I just rent out 3 levels and make each level, because they're really big, over 4,000, almost 5,000 square feet. Each level, a 3-bedroom, 1 bath, I can actually rent out each level for $1,400, meaning all 3 levels will come up to close to $4,000. My note on the property, once I'm all in, will be less than $2,000, which is to say it's $2,000. Now, with that vision, I'm $2,000 a month in positive cash flow by renting out each floor, by renovating it, getting an architect to do the drawings. It's already zoned multifamily, turning the first 3 levels into 3-bedroom, 1 baths, and renting out each level to Section 8. But then also with vision, I can make the basement level a laundry room and charge for that. And so that's another stream of income that I can get from that one property. And so you've got to have vision. You've got to have vision on these properties. I've got another buddy of mine who in Washington D.C. Was looking. He was actually looking to buy the property and rent it. I mean, buy the property and flip the property as one property. And the wholesaler was wholesaling the property as if it was one unit. And his wholesale fee was just a little too high. The cash buyer did some research, had some vision, and saw that that one building, that one unit row house was actually zoned where he could do a condo conversion. So as a condo conversion, he could come close to doubling his profit on the property, which now made paying that wholesaler what he wanted more than a great deal, because he did his research, he had the vision. He said, okay, instead of me renovating this property as one unit, I'm going to turn it into a condo conversion. And so you guys, another trait as for an investor is having vision for the property, even if you're buying and holding in any other area. It could be a 2-bedroom, 1 bath, but if the basement's bigger, now you can turn the basement into another bedroom, put another bedroom, possibly another bathroom. If there's enough square footage in the property, now you're renting out, instead of as a 2-bedroom, 1 bath, now as a 3-bedroom, 2 bath. And in most cases, you're getting close to $500 a month more in rental income, sometimes even more than that, by having the vision. So as a real estate investor, another trait is vision. Fourth trait, and here's what I also see for real estate investors, is focus. Like, you really have to have laser focus on investing, but not just investing on whatever your niche is, whether your niche is wholesaling real estate, fixing and flipping real estate, or buying and holding real estate. You've got to have laser focus. Think of a room. A room is lit up with a light bulb. And so the light bulb lights up the whole entire room. But a laser, you put a laser in that room, that laser is only going to direct light into one specific area in that room. But that light is so laser focused that it can punch through anything in that room. That's the type of investor that you want to be. You want to be laser focused, like the laser, not the light bulb and kind of just be all over the place. You want to have that laser focus on what you're doing. There's another investor, an Asian investor with my brokerage, and I would say that he's one of the top flippers. He fixes and flips properties in Washington, D.C. He's one of the top flippers in the area. He's laser focused on flipping properties. That's all he thinks about doing. He hangs his license with me, but he's laser focused on flipping. And now he's elevated his business such that he only buys if the property, if the profit is less than $1 million, he's not buying. He's focused on a few areas, high-priced areas in Washington, D.C., and now he tells me he's buying from like lawyers and doctors who are getting divorced or wanting to scale up or scale down. He's got a special, he's got an architect that helps him finish the properties, and his properties are beautiful. I mean, all the top finishes that you could put in a house. Granite doesn't touch granite. The regular hardwood floors doesn't touch that. Everything is like at a very high level. He's laser focused on certain targeted areas. He's laser focused on how he's finishing the properties. He tells me he generally buys for $1 million and sells for 2.5 to 3 million. making a profit of $1 million, but he's laser focused. He's not like the light bulb and just kind of all over the place buying in any location. He's got certain locations where he knows that he can buy for $1 million and sell for 2.5 or 3 million. Only makes a profit of, if he can't make a profit of $1 million, he's not buying. And so he's laser focused. But because of that, he's branded himself. And so the homeowners know him, the real estate agents know him, the wholesalers know him, know his name. We've sent him deals. He pays top dollar to wholesalers. He pays top dollar to agents. What he does with the agents is he'll buy the property so that agent can get both sides of the deal, the buyer side and the seller side. And then when he finishes renovating that property, he gives that property back to the agent. So now that agent is actually getting paid at least 3 times. But now they've got a 2.5 or 3 million or $4 million listing that they're now selling, and they can get buyers from that listing. But he's laser focused, you guys. He's got that focus, and you've got to have that focus. Like, what is your niche as an investor? What is your niche? I've got another agent investor of mine with my brokerage that he's laser focused on wholesaling, and he's branded himself as such. So he gets a lot of deals. He's so branded himself that other wholesalers come to him so that he can help them wholesale his properties. He actually has a property that he's closing this month where the wholesale fee, he's making a $200,000 wholesale fee. He last year he made over $300,000 wholesaling real estate, and another $300,000 listing and selling real estate, being an agent here at the brokerage. But he's laser focused. He's focused really on one thing, well, really 2 things. He's focused, number one, on wholesaling, and then he's also laser focused on taking that money that he's making wholesaling real estate, and then he goes and buys and holds properties and pays cash for them. That's his rents them out Section 8. That's what he's laser focused on. Every single day, he's on the hunt for properties that he can wholesale and then take the money and then buy and hold properties. And so as an investor, you guys, you got to be laser focused. I mean, my question is, what are you laser focused on? Or what do you want to be laser focused on? Buy and hold strategy, fix and flip, creative financing strategies, how to get financing, all of those things. What are you laser focused on? All right, so number 5, relationship building. And so when I think about all the top investors that I know, one of the traits is that they're focused on building relationships. You've got to build relationships. That the investor that can build the right relationships, they're the ones that are winning. We like to say that it's not what you know, but who you know. And if you know the right people, and the right people being the people that can help find you deals, the people being your team, your dream team. If you're not an agent, a great real estate agent, a great real estate attorney, real estate title company, investor-friendly title company, mortgage company, contractors. You've got to have the right team. And if you have the right dream team, if you've built those relationships, everything is easy. Now it's just about finding the right deal. But you've got to have all the right relationships and have, relationship building practices so that you can be a success. One thing that I will tell you, and I had to learn the hard way, is building these relationships. Sometimes you've got to pay for it. Sometimes you got to pay for these relationships. I had a property, not far from where I live, where I got a really good deal on the property. I had 3 contractors that came and gave me 3 different bids. This was probably 5, 6, 7 years ago. And I took the lowest bid. And I tell this story a lot. I took the lowest bid I really didn't have relationships with any of the contractors, but I took the lowest bid and I paid for it. I ended up having to fire that contractor. The contractor that gave me the highest bid, I hired him. Contractors, they don't like coming behind each other's work. So he had to tear some of the work up, take down some walls, didn't know what was behind the walls. And I ended up paying like double what I should have paid for that project because I didn't have the right relationships. But that contractor that I paid, that bid at the highest, that I ended up using, he was the right person, and I've been using him since. So now I've got the right relationship. So now I very rarely have any problems with contractors. I like using the same lenders. Actually, my hard money lender calls me. Greg, you have any more deals? I've got that relationship with them. Even if it's a deal where they don't think it's like a good deal in their mind, they'll give me the benefit of the doubt because of the relationship. I've never, I don't owe them any money. Every property that they've ever lent to me, I've come through. But that's relationships. I talked about the other investor that only invests in high price neighborhoods and only buys where he can make $1 million. He has relationships with real estate agents. When an agent gets in a listing in his area, he's built those relationships, so they run to him. They call him first before they even put the property on the market. I've got this property I'm getting ready to put on the market, would love for you to purchase it. He's built that reputation. He's built that relationship. And those are the type of relationships that you need in order to, like in his case, get access to that property first. I actually, with a lot of wholesalers, they call me first, but I built a relationship. And like the other person that I mentioned, along with building those relationships, you got to come through. Like he has never not paid his, the wholesalers, never not paid a commission. There's never not given that agent back the property to list. You build that relationship by having a good reputation of coming through, like delivering on everything that you say, delivering on everything that you promise, not over promising and over delivering, actually over delivering. And so that's how he's built that relationship. And so those are the traits, you guys. Those are the traits that you need. You've got to have relationship building. Also, another trait that I see investors make, and all investors that I've mentioned, including myself, is the word leverage. Like nobody buys all the properties with cash. Like you've got to leverage, but not just leveraging money, using other people's money to become wealthy. You've got to use other people. So you use people as leverage, and leverage also means opportunity. You got to leverage your opportunities and be able to take advantage of the opportunities. So in terms of leveraging your money, I tell my investors that in order to build a big, successful real estate empire, really, financing is the key. I mean, other than being able to find deals, you've got to be able to finance them. I've got an investor friend of mine who she has probably, I would guess, a line of credit of like maybe $20 million. And so she's using other people's money to build her own, to build her wealth. There's never ever a property that she buys where she doesn't use other people's money. But she's built that line of credit because number one, she's got good credit. Number two, when she borrows money, she pays it back and pays it back on time. Again, that's relationship building. And she just always comes through. She knows her numbers, so she never ever overextends herself. And she's built that reputation. So she's able to get financing. So she leverages her business. Look, in order to build a big investment business, it's cash intensive. And so you don't want to use your own money. We make, unlike the stock market as investors, real estate investors, We use other people's money. That's why real estate investing is the best investment that you can ever make, because we use other people's money. When you put money in the stock market, it's your money. We leverage, our opportunities or our money by using private lenders, people that you just know that has money, hard money lenders, banks, community banks. We're using leverage, and then we're using people. That dream team that I talked about, we're leveraging their efforts. We're even leveraging through networking other people's efforts to find us deals. We have what we call bird dogs that are out in the field as we speak, looking for properties that will pay them a small fee to find us properties. And so we've got to leverage other people's efforts in order to build a big real estate empire. And that should be your goal, is to do that. And I see a lot of investors doing that, but they're using other people, and they're using leveraging opportunities, people, money. And then at the same time, you guys, you've got to, and I tell my agents this all the time and my investors, in order to leverage other people and to have these great relationships, you've got to be kind to them. You've got to be willing to reciprocate. If a wholesaler finds me a deal, I'm more than happy to pay them, the wholesale fee. And in most cases, I don't barter with them. I'm not negotiating. If the numbers work, I want to pay them. I once paid a wholesaler $120,000, because by paying them the $120,000, the numbers still work for me in my formula. The Mayo formula numbers still work. I was happy to pay them $120,000. Here's why I was happy. Number one, the numbers worked for me. I actually made $120,000 on the deal in 6 months. As a wholesaler, they made $120,000 in 2 weeks, but I didn't care. I was happy to pay them. Number one reason, because I showed goodwill. I showed favor. And since then, they've sent me 3 deals that I've already closed on. And that's the kind of relationships that you need. But you've got to leverage yourself through other people. And that's how you get deals. My buddy that's only buying in neighborhoods where he can make $1 million. I mean, he leverages other people to the point where I've never really seen. And he has, sometimes I will call him, or him and I will go to lunch, and he says, Greg, right now I can't take any more deals. I've got so many deals. And trust me, he probably has a line of credit of 20 or 30 million. But with his contractors, he only has a capacity. I think he has 4 crews, only to do so much. He's got a great problem. He says, Greg, I've got so many deals. People are sending me so many deals that I can't handle them all. I can't handle them all. And it's only because of how he runs his business. And he's built those relationships, but he's leveraged his business through other people. All right, number 7, we're almost done. We've got knowledge as a trait. You've got to have the knowledge, the patience, the finding great deals, vision. You've got to have focus, relationship building, leverage. Number 7, you've got to know your limitations. I know a lot of investors, like the one I just mentioned. He says, Greg, I have too many deals. I can't take anymore. Sometimes I'll call and say, hey, I've got a deal for you. He'll tell me I can't take anymore. He knows his limitations. And he doesn't want to take on a deal and lose money, or have it just sit, or be in a position where he can't deliver, to me. So he says no. And so that's another thing, you guys, in terms of analyzing deals, in terms of knowing your limitations, you got to know how to say no. You can't say yes to every deal. You got to know how to say no. So you don't want to get overwhelmed. You don't want to do too much too soon. And you want to stay in your sweet spot. I've got a certain sweet spot that I stay in. And if it's anything outside of the sweet spot, I may wholesale the deal, or I may just say no to the deal. Like, I'm just not taking anything. And so that investor is the same thing. He knows his limitations. Know how to say no. Again, I would rather you say no to a good deal than than to say yes to a bad deal and lose money. And so all the investors that I know, I've got one investor that all he does is buy land. You can't convince him to flip a property. You can't even convince him to buy and hold a property. He's laser focused on land, and he's looking for land. He's branded himself. Whenever I find a property that's land, want to wholesale to him, he's buying. With my coaching students, he's the land guy. And so he just focuses on land. He knows his niche. He knows how to develop the land. He knows how to sell or wholesale the land to other developers. He's just laser focused on that, but he knows his limitations. He's got the knowledge of buying land, and that's what he focuses on. I've got another investor. All she does is focus on multifamily, 4 units or more. That's it. 4 units or more. That's all. You can't convince her to buy residential property, 1 unit or even 2 units. You can't convince her to flip a property. All she does is buy 4 units or more. And if it means that she only buys, by now it doesn't really matter, but buys 1 property a year, she's happy with that. Because by now she's getting in all this cash flow to the point that, she just does it full time. She property manages all of her properties. She knows what her strengths are. She knows what her weaknesses are. She's laser focused on multifamily. She's learned that game. She knows how to get financing. She knows who to get financing from. She's branded herself as she's the queen of multifamily. But again, she knows her limitations. She says, I'm not good at flipping properties. I'm good at buying and holding multifamily. And I leverage myself that way on multifamily properties. And that's it. So she knows her limitations. Know your limitations. Be good initially at one thing, one strategy. Number 8, encourage referrals. And so along with encouraging referrals, you've got to get good. One trait that I see with all the investors that I'm talking about is they can find deals. They ask for referrals. They do a great job networking. A lot of them wear the name of their company on their shirt or on their back or on their hat. They're marketing. They're marketing. They want referrals. But then also I see them putting out bandit signs. I see them at the auctions. Like, you've got to know how you're going to find deals. And a trait of a good real estate investor, they know how to lead generate. They know how to find their next deal. And so they've got a marketing plan. They're sending out postcards. Some of them are driving for dollars. Some of them, like I said, are going to auctions. But here's what I'll say for probably the 1 or 2 things that they do, I will say, is probably networking and branding themselves. That's probably the number one. They get referrals. By now they have a referral-based business because they've done so much business. They know how to keep in touch. One of my investors, he's one of the top investors in the area. Almost on a daily basis, he's just picking up the phone, calling everyone that he's ever done business with. I get a call from him at least once a week. Hey, Greg, you have anything? You can wholesale to me? I'm ready. I got my crew. I got one crew that's not working right now. Do you have anything? So networking, branding, referral-based business. You have to let everybody that know that you're a real estate investor. You can't be like I talk to my real estate agents and I say, you're a secret agent. Like, nobody knows that you're in business. You got to let the whole wide world know that this is what you do. And so how do you brand yourself? You brand yourself, number one place, which is very easy, is on social media. You should be branding yourself on social media. But then if you've done business with other investors, pick up the phone and call them. If you haven't, now you need to start driving for dollars, sending out postcards to a targeted area like absentee owners, or getting a list of homeowners who've owned their properties free and clear, or at least have 50% equity in their properties, and call them or send them a postcard on a regular basis. Like you've got to have a marketing strategy. A lot of my investors are winning. A lot of my coaching students are winning lately. I was on my Tuesday night call with my Q&A with my investors last night. It seems like the majority of them are winning deals, and these are brand new investors at the auction. They're going to the auction at the courthouse steps. They're also going to the auctions in front of the properties, and they're also going to, they're doing the online auctions, and they're winning. And so you can do that too. And they're networking. They said that they're networking. They're just letting everybody know that this is what you do. But a trait, one of the number one traits of a successful real estate investor is knowing that marketing strategy. You've got to know how to find the next deal, and you cannot be afraid to find that next deal, to ask for business. You got to ask. They say you better ask somebody. You better ask somebody for some business so that you can get some more business and keep it going. All right, so the last thing I want to talk about, we've talked about the knowledge as a trait, patience, vision, focus, relationship building, leverage, and knowing your limitations, and encouraging referrals and other marketing strategies. In conclusion, I want to talk about a few other traits. One is passion. As a real estate investor, you've got to love it, because there's some pitfalls that happen along the way. There's bumps in the road. I mean, I would love to sit here and tell you that every property that I've ever purchased, everything came up roses. I didn't lose money, or something bad didn't happen. This is not HGTV, you guys. Things go wrong like anything else in life. There's hurdles. But if you have a passion for this, then you'll be able to overcome them. You'll overcome them, and you'll keep moving, and you'll stay strong. But you've got to love this. You won't be as successful as you could be if you don't love real estate investing. So you got to love it. I love it. Whenever one of my students says, Greg, can you come and vet this property for me? Can you come take a look at it? As long as it makes sense on paper, I'm there. And it doesn't even seem like work. Saturday morning, Sunday sometimes, doesn't even seem like work. It's fun for me. I love it. People say, you know what, you work too hard. And I'm like, if they only knew that this is like a playground for me. This is not work. It's fun. So you've got to have passion, and then you've got to have perseverance. Like I just said, you've got to persevere. You've got to get over the tough times. But like the old people say, tough times don't last always. And so you've got to persevere through the tough times as a real estate investor. And just always know that there's absolutely 90% more good times than bad times. But when you're going through that 10%, you can't give up. I see a lot of real estate investors giving up. Can't give up. You can't give up on yourself. You can't give up on your family. If you persevere as a real estate investor, the sky's the limit. You could be the first person in your family that starts the process of building generational wealth. It only takes one person. That one person needs to be you. But number one, you got to have the passion. And number two, you've got to persevere. I think it's good to have accountability partners, role models, coaches, people like that around you, and being around like-minded people, because many people will tell you shouldn't do it, stop doing it, you shouldn't be working today. I got a lot of people around me that I know love me, but they'll tell me you should take a day off. You shouldn't be working today. And I know in their minds they mean well, but like they don't know the kind of passion that I have. And I want to be that person that begins, the process of having generational wealth. And so I can't let them or anybody else, and they mean well, stop me, but you've got to persevere. Also, self-discipline. You've got to be self-disciplined. You've got to be disciplined. You've got to focus. You can't always be at the party. You can't always go on that girls' trip. You've got to be disciplined, and you got to take the time out to do what you need to do to be a huge success. You've got to be disciplined. And again, that sometimes that goes with being around the right people who are doing the right things or doing the things that you want to do, but you've got to be self-disciplined. And you've got to be, we talked about focus, that's focus. And so you have to have those traits. You've got to have all of these traits, but one is like self-discipline. If you know that you shouldn't be buying a property, don't buy it. That's discipline. If you know that you should be, looking at properties or doing some marketing, some people cold call, some people are posting on social media. You got to be self-disciplined to block out time, do time blocking, to do those things. There's a lot of distractions that are going to come your way. There's a lot of other things that you could be doing that are not revenue generating things to do. Then don't do it. Be self-disciplined. Two more things. Imagination. As a real estate investor, you've got to have a great imagination. I call real estate investing or real estate in general, my art form. It's my art form. I've got an imagination. I like to read books and to look at other projects, so that when I have a project, I already know. Okay, on this project, we're going to move the steps over here, and we're going to have the steps coming from the back instead of from the front. And it's only because of, number one, my imagination, and number two, I've seen that before. So that goes along with knowledge that we talked about, but you got to have an imagination. Imagination kind of also goes with vision. And a lot of projects that I've done, I've got that imagination where we're going to go up a level on this property. And by going up a level, it's going to cost me another $30,000, but I'll be able to sell the property for another $60,000. And so you've got to have that kind of vision, that kind of imagination. And then the last thing that I want to talk about or mention is you've got to be bold. Like as a real estate investor, as an entrepreneur, you got to have bold. You got to be bold. You've got to have that boldness about you. You've got to be daring, calculated. You got to do your research, but you got to be bold. You got to have courage, because again, even in your mind, your own mindset is telling you not to do certain things. Of course, you've got people telling you not to do certain things, but look, the most successful people are the ones that step out. Again, calculated. Again, they've done their research. If their research says do it, and they've seen other people do it, then you have to bet on yourself and be bold enough to do it too, to be a real estate investor, to flip properties, to buy and hold and have a big portfolio of real estate. Even start the process of wholesaling real estate. You got to have the courage to do it. And if you're not bold, and if you don't have courage, you will never experience your true potential as a real estate investor or as an entrepreneur. It's got to be bold, you guys. What have you done lately that you could say, like, I'm bold, or I'm betting on myself? And despite what everybody else thinks, I'm going to do it because, number one, I've seen a proven model that has done it. And I'm going to follow that proven model. There's nothing that I've ever done in my career. All the agents that all the investors that I talked about, they've all seen the vision. But doesn't mean that they're going to do it, but they're bold enough to do it. And you have to be bold enough to do what you see. You got to take a step forward. Again, you may need a coach, you may need a mentor, you may need accountability partner, but let's be bold today, you guys. Let's be bold. What can you do today? What can you do tomorrow? What can you do in your future, your near future, that you can say, okay, I'm bold. I was bold many, many years ago where I quit my full-time job to do this full-time. That's a bold move. What have you done? I was in a franchise model, and everyone said I was crazy to come out of that franchise model to be independent, where nobody really knew my name. That was a bold move. Now I have like 5 times more agents because I bet on myself. You've got to bet on yourself, you guys. You have to bet on yourself. All right, you guys, passion, perseverance, self-discipline, imagination, and boldness. Those traits, along with all the other traits that I talked about, is what's going to propel you to being a successful real estate investor. But more importantly, it's going to propel you to greatness. It's going to propel you to having multiple streams of income. It's going to propel you to building generational wealth, and it's going to propel you to leaving a legacy for your family. All right, you guys, follow me on Instagram. My Instagram is up, Greg Bennett Invest. Sign up on my YouTube channel. Let's stay connected. Let's be bold together. And let's experience greatness together. If one of us rises, we'll all rise. All right, you guys, have a great rest of your day. Take care. God bless. And I will talk to you soon. Have a wonderful rest of your day.